Okay, I'm back, and I wanted to go in this video just over briefly where things are and what the basic assignments are and how they look. Each week I'll explain in more detail the weekly exercises, but for right now I'll just sort of show you where stuff is. Like I said, when you come into the classroom, you'll always land here. I've already gone over the syllabus with you. I wanted to highlight that we have these study guides already ready. And I use the same study guides every quarter, even though I change the exams, because I always test on the same basic concepts. The point of a class such as this is to teach you some basic principles that have to do with science. And really, it has to do with any kind of science. If you've had a logic class, you may notice that a lot of this looks familiar to some philosophy, really the logic part of philosophy. So a lot of this is really just a way to think about doing science, and then I'll also include in this, in appropriate places, I'll include the basic methods for collecting data in psychology. So for example, on midterm 1, these are the hints sorry, for what you should be studying. Why do we study psychology scientifically rather than just philosophically? That's something I'm for sure going to lecture on, and it's in the textbook. Falsifiability. You're going to have an actual weekly exercise having to do with falsifiability. Confirmation bias. Science as publicly verifiable. Ways of acquiring knowledge. There's 4 ways, and I'm going to lecture on it. The textbook talks about them. What's a theory? What's a hypothesis? What's essentialism and operationalism? Again, you have another weekly exercise that pertains to those 2 things. Why scientific explanations are temporary, right? So go through here and you'll see that these tie directly to things I talk about in my lectures and things that are covered in the textbook, and also a lot of times things that I've assigned you to do as a weekly exercise. So your weekly exercises are very closely tied to the concepts that I'm trying to teach you in class. Okay, and so I made up study guides like that for both tests. They are 100% guaranteed the things that you will see on the tests. The big trick with the tests versus the study guides is that on the tests, there are, each test has 10 items, and you get to pick 5. But they are not 10 items like number 1, what's a theory? Number 2, what's a hypothesis? It's not like that. I've taken the different concepts and tied them together in a way that will force you to have to pick 5 items that are a hodgepodge, a mixture of different things that are in fact related to each other, but that I'm really trying to encourage you to see why they're related. So long story short, don't just study 10 things and think you know them all. Study everything, because you don't know how I'm going to combine those 10 things. So be prepared, fill in those study guides. I really recommend that you put them on cards so that you can have easy access, file them alphabetically, whatever, so that you can have your little notes. And then when it's time to do your exams, you can quickly type your answer to my essay question. The next category of things in the modules would be the APA paper guidelines and requirements. And so what I've done is broken these things I wrote, how to format your paper, what I require to be in the paper. I gave you a sample from something that a student turned in, and I forgot to notice that the running head was not correctly formatted. So don't copy the formatting on this one. Instead, I wanted you to see my annotations and things. I've also included a link to the BC Library, and the BC Library very kindly created a research guide that has a compilation of all the psychology-related journals so that you can easily figure out what you should be searching for your paper. And then this is a link to the APA.org, the actual American Psychological Association style tutorial. So like this is the final word on any style question you might have. You know, should this be capitalized or should this be lowercase? Should this be bolded or should it be italicized? Should this be 1-inch margin? Where they've got every single thing answered in this tutorial, and you can hop around the tutorial. It's got a little menu on the right hand side, and so you can decide where you want to go. You don't have to sit there and watch 40 minutes or something. You can hop around. So these are all the things, really, if you read them, if you interact with them, if you process them, you've got everything you need to be able to write your APA paper. Like I said in my other video, my syllabus video, I will be going over with you things that are common errors or common struggles that students have. And as I make those videos, I'll pop them into this APA paper area also. So one thing that's different about the way I've set up this classroom than I do my, let's say, intro to psych or my lifespan development classrooms or my human sexuality classrooms is that it's not necessarily just completely linear. You're not going to just move through these modules and never return back up. Keep coming back to the APA paper one because you'll see that I'll be adding videos that you might find helpful. Now we do get down here to, I've broken each week down into a module, and so I've put everything together that's going to be done from one Thursday until the next Wednesday. I know it's a crazy week, but I thought, you know, for those of you who do work on the weekend, for those of you who work on the weekdays, I'm like, when am I supposed to figure this out? For those of you who have a sport or who knows what you guys are up to. I don't know what you guys do. I thought Thursday to Wednesday, basically, I know I work on the weekdays. So I thought, I guess if you did some work over the week, I don't require any work to be turned in on the weekend, but if you turn some in on the weekend, it wouldn't be that long until I saw it on Monday. And if I had it start on Thursday, that would put you in the mindset to start reading on Thursday for the next week, and that way you'd be ready come Monday and Tuesday to submit your weekly exercises. So that's kind of my mentality on how I set up the weeks. So I provided you with my PowerPoints that I normally use in class, and the reason why I thought that would be important is that inside of these PowerPoints, if you view them in slideshow, there are hyperlinks to videos and things like that that illustrate concepts. So when I do my recording and post my actual YouTube videos that have the lectures in them, I'll say things like, okay, I can't run this video while I'm making this recording, but you're going to want to open those PowerPoints and run this video if you want to see it. And usually it's worth your while to see them. I have some really interesting videos that really illustrate concepts for us. So in the first 3 weeks you have two weekly exercises and an APA topic, a thing to do. Finding a legitimate topic is the first one, and you are literally, for this first one, you're literally going to give me 2 lines. The first one is a question that you have about something psychological, and then the second line is your attempt to take that question and make it into some kind of prediction, sort of like a hypothesis. So literally 2 lines is the first, and really all I'm trying to do with that assignment is to get you to start thinking about your topic. The second week, you still have your 2 weekly exercises, and then you're going to have this assignment, which is to find an article on that topic that you created the previous week. Find something that relates to it. And a lot of times that's the first frustration that students run into, is trying to find something that's related to what they asked about. The next week, you have still the 2 weekly exercises. Now you have an APA formatting assignment, which I will explain before this is due, that will give you practice in how to organize the references correctly following APA style. And then your midterm is due. So week 3 is going to be a busy week. Got a lot of stuff to do. So you might want to meter out your time. And anything that you want to do ahead of time is completely fine. The only thing that's time limited is the midterm. The midterm is only open for a week. Everything else is already open, and if you want to work ahead, more power to you. You cannot work backwards. If you've missed a deadline, I don't let you make something up. But if you want to work ahead, you're welcome to it, with the exception of the midterm and the final. Okay, and so we get back to our normal cycle of 2 weekly exercises, and now you'll notice the APA assignments are no longer present for week 4, but now week 5, you actually have written your APA paper, and it's due by the Wednesday of week 5, which is August 5th. And then here you only have in week 6 1 weekly exercise and the midterm. So your final week is like your lightest week of the entire quarter, so that you leave with a happy mood, I guess. I don't know. That's just how it works out, isn't it? So that's how things are organized. So please let me know if anything's confusing. If you ever need to email me, up here when you're normally in class, you'll see there's an inbox, and you can just send a message to me in that, or you can send a message to me at jseaver@bellevuecollege.edu. Okay, I will see you guys in my next video.